Everybody, it's Tim. Great to be with you as we journey through the Bible day by day. Our reading for today is in 1 Samuel, uh, chapter 4 through chapter 7. And that's a great story that applies to us today. Uh, the way some people describe the history of our country, it almost sounds like the peak spiritually for our country was when the Pilgrims stepped off the Mayflower at the Plymouth Rock, and we've just been gradually going downhill from then on. But that really isn't the way the history of our country has gone. We've gone through ups and downs. It's true that after the 1700s there was spiritual apathy, and people were not interested and being influenced by Enlightenment thinkers, but we are ready for a revival. By the time you get to the 1740s and 1750s, a revival broke out throughout the colonies. It was called the Great Awakening, and it had such an impact on our country. It made a difference in terms of our independence and also our Constitution. Our founding fathers were quoting from the sermons that were being preached at that time that found their way into our national thoughts. But then after the 1800s, we were back in a condition of spiritual apathy, and people were not interested, and we are ready for another revival. And God brought one in the 1750s, and with the great prayer meetings were being held. It was completely a lay revival. It wasn't led by preachers like the Great Awakening. I mean, we had great preachers like Jonathan Edwards and George Whitefield, but it was strictly a lay revival. But our country has gone through times when we've been away from God, and then we found our way back. The holiness movement might be considered a part of that in the late 1800s. I think we're ready for revival right now spiritually. When I look at the spiritual state of our nation right now, I think we're kind of like the Israelites when you get to chapter 4 of Samuel. The Philistines had stolen the Ark of the Covenant. And you may wonder, how in the world did they ever get their hands on that? It was meant to be in the Holy of Holies and to represent God's very presence in that place. Well, the Israelites were so far from God that they looked at the ark as kind of a good luck charm. They were going into battle, they were afraid, and they decided, if we bring the ark with us, that'll be God's grace upon us. So they brought the ark, and the result was they lost the battle, and the ark was stolen, and the priests were killed. Now, to the Philistines, the Ark of the Covenant was a trophy. Kind of represented the fact that their God was victorious over this Israelite God. And not a lot of difference between the two ways of looking at God, because it's God is not a good luck charm. He's not a trophy either. He's sovereign. He's the Almighty. And it didn't work out for either group, by the way. As far as a good luck charm, the Israelites lost the battle. Some good luck. And it didn't turn out very well for the Philistines, because when they brought the ark to their town, people died. And it sounds like it might have been kind of a bubonic plague at that time. And people didn't die, got hemorrhoids. That's what hemorrhoids are. It's an early word that is used to describe hemorrhoids. And the final town wouldn't even take it. They said, don't bring that ark here. Send it back. The problem is a lot of people look at God today as a good luck charm. Their pastor has been telling them, if you worship God, and especially, if you're generous with the offering, that's especially important, that God will bless your life and your bills will get paid and you'll have good health, your kids will turn out well. And if those things don't happen, and sometimes they don't, then people feel like God hasn't done his share. God's let me down. Look at all I've done for God, and he's not coming through. Well, God will not be used for our good luck. He's not going to be used as a trophy. He's our sovereign. He's our king. He's in control of everything in heaven and in earth. And that's the essence of revival. If the ark was brought back to Israel, And for 20 years it was there. And then after that amount of time, people were ready uh, for revival. It says, all the house of Israel lamented after the Lord. They wanted God. And Samuel, that young boy that was brought into the tabernacle, he's now a young adult. And they went to him to see, what do we do? We're longing for God. And chapter 7, verse 3 said, Samuel spoke unto the house of Israel, saying, if you do return unto the Lord with all your hearts, put away the strange gods and the Ashtaroth from among you. They had Baal, the male god, Ashtaroth, the female god. They're both just worthless idols from paganism. That was right there in their own homes. They get rid of it, and the people did that. Prepare your hearts unto the Lord. So to begin with, if revival is going to take place, the people of God need to get rid of their idols, anything that takes God's place in their lives. And then pray. Samuel said, gather all Israel to Mitzvah, and I will pray for you unto the Lord. And they gathered there, and they fasted that day, and they prayed. And then as a result of that, they smote the Philistines. God gave them victory in the battle to demonstrate that he was in charge of this. And I like what they did next. Samuel set up a stone. He called the stone Ebenezer and said, hitherto hath the Lord helped us. The Lord gets the credit for what happens. You know, in a true revival, people are not looking at the preachers and saying, well, this revival is the result of this great man and what he's done. They're turning to the Lord and saying, well, look what the Lord has done in our lives. You know, I think that we need to do all of those in our churches today. Just put away our idols, anything that takes God's place. We need to be praying and fasting for God's help. And then we need to give God all the credit for what our country needs today. Take a minute just to pray for revival in our country. Would you do that? Because we need that. I think where Israel was in chapter 4 of 1 Samuel. We'll keep reading and get into the Word tomorrow. Our scripture reading is 1 Samuel 8 to 10. Read those, and I'll look forward to being back with you again. Have a great day, folks.